Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
We're back after 2 weeks of misery and sickness and 2 feet of fucking snow. We have returned to talk about anime.
Still alive,
and
mostly.
Stuff. Yeah, it was touch and go for a while there.
Bit of zombification. Sorry.
Don't go to the doctor for anything that's not COVID because they'll just refuse to treat you. That's my little bit of
tip for the day.
Yeah, that's my wisdom for the day.
I guess you'll have to go to
just pretend you have COVID.
Special Mexican airport that has all the medicine. You just choose your own adventure.
That is pretty hilarious. Anyway, good old Mexico. Let's see. I caught up on anime while I was sick, so we can talk about some new stuff. What else? Oh yeah, I want to bitch about CG.
Yep.
Because our review this week is a movie from 2007 that has amazingly good fucking CG. And
for the time especially.
For the time especially. I mean, it's good for now. Well, Japanese style.
It would be acceptable for now.
America does not do a lot of realistic looking stuff though, so it's kind of hard to compare. You know what I mean?
Well, we could talk about that Lupin movie I watched too, because that had pretty amazing CG. So
kind of bummed out. I was so delirious I couldn't even really watch a lot while I was sick.
I didn't watch a lot of anime because I didn't want to read too much.
Having a fever of 104 just makes you retarded.
Yeah, I got lucky on the fever part. Also going to talk about the Shonen Formula a little bit. I think we should break out pieces of that every now and again and discuss, because Shonen is one of those things. It's kind of like the backbone of so much entertainment, and it's it's almost like the purest form of
how
Hero with 1,000 Faces.
It's like how pulp, the old pulp stuff,
exactly,
is basically the backbone of American entertainment,
or
it was before.
I think it still is.
Well,
the good stuff anyway.
The good stuff, yeah. But before any of that, you know what time it is? The news.
The news, yeah. And I didn't go too crazy because we got 2-3 weeks worth of freaking news.
I just went back a few days.
So I picked out a sampling here.
All I know is that every single Japanese voice actor has COVID this week.
Oh yeah, I will talk about that.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so the first one is a bit of sad news. The artist Jean-Claude, I'm gonna butcher this, sorry, Mézières, passed away. He was the one who illustrated Valerian et Laureline. So if you remember the Valerian movie? He actually worked on a lot of concept stuff, artwork for Fifth Element too.
I wanted that movie to be good, but it was kind of...
Because of course he did, because that was always Luc Besson's kind of obsession. So, I mean, very, very good art, very cool art. I feel like French and continental European especially, but French especially, art is kind of it's underappreciated. They have a lot of really good comics.
Oh, wasn't heavy metal fucking French?
Yeah. The original. Oh God, I can't. The name was in my head for half a second and then it went out. The original, yes, yeah, and Mobius is the one everybody knows about. Right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Which of course Jean-Claude Mézières knew. But yeah, 83. It doesn't have a cause of death, but 83.
Not too bad.
Had a very good run.
If I make it till 83, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, had a good run, but it is a loss because I mean, like I said, that style artwork is very cool. I really appreciate it, and it is so underappreciated in the West in a lot of ways. So. Anyway, I suppose that's an announcement to check that stuff out. Check out all the Jodorowsky stuff. I gotta finish the Black Inkal and
the Inkal, yeah. That's
I have that
weird comic he did.
And
allegedly they animated it.
Yeah, they're doing it. I don't know if it's out yet.
They're working on it now. Because that's definitely something.
Anyway, at some point we will talk about that stuff, especially when I'm done reading it, because it's neat. It's just some neat stuff. So, plus it was written by freaking Jodorowsky. So
weird. Dude.
If you ain't watched Jodorowsky's Dune, check it out. That's a crazy trip of a movie.
Well, it's not the actual movie. It's the movie.
No, it's a movie about the movie.
It's a documentary about a movie that never got made.
Exactly.
Because Jodorowsky's a fucking weird maniac.
He's a weird maniac, but God bless him.
It's a fantastic documentary, though. Highly recommended.
Yeah. Well, just don't be like those idiots that bought the copy of the cool picture book for $6 million, thinking somehow it gave them the rights to do anything with Dune.
If you're that dumb and you have that kind of money, you deserve what you get.
Yeah.
Somebody is a trust fund baby.
Anyway, moving on from some sad news to, I guess good news, but probably not for most people because they won't be able to get one. Valve's Steam Deck is actually going to come out on February 25th. So I know a lot of people have been kind of looking forward to this because a lot of people have giant Steam libraries with tons of stuff.
Are they just going to send you like the case without any chips in it?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's basically a Switch, but for Steam games.
Yeah.
So
we actually talked about it before.
Yeah, it makes sense. We have talked about it before, so everybody knows about it. It's got a release date here.
Oh,
so.
we were talking about it because you were not going to get it before Christmas.
Yes, I mean, you're certainly not going to get it now, probably either. Unfortunately,
maybe you might get it by next Christmas.
Yeah, it's going to be hard because those chip shortages are real.
They're actually building chip plants in the U.S. now, and they will probably done and be making chips before China sends us more chips. So.
Yeah, well, it's Taiwan, and I don't know. They had a lot of strict COVID lockdowns and stuff, and then the supply chain just hosed. I mean, we all know it. So,
yep.
Who knows? There's probably a ton of chips just offshore,
floating offshore.
All right. Speaking of things that are premiering, so we now have a premiere date for Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury.
That sounds metal. I'm stoked.
It just sounds cool, right? That's going to be in the October time frame here.
Oh, nice.
During the Nichi 5 time slot. I don't know what that means. Sundays at 5 Japanese local time, 4 a.m. Eastern time on a Sunday. So looks like Sundays you'll be able to. I'm sure someone will be streaming it. I don't think it says yet.
I'm usually up at 4:30. I'd have to get up a little early to watch it.
Well, you don't have to watch it live. I just mean on Sundays you should be able to watch that new Gundam show starting in October. So I'm excited. I mean, it's the first non-UC Gundam thing they've done since what the hell was that? Iron Blood Orphans. IBO. Yep, IBO. Which IBO is well liked. I don't hate IBO. I just wish it had a better ending.
love the series.
Yeah.
I would love to watch it again all the way up to the last 2 episodes because it's
too nihilistic for me.
It's just the worst fucking letdown. You watch like 50 some episodes and it's just like, oh yeah, none of this fucking mattered.
Could be realistic. Doesn't mean I want realism in my
I absolutely do not. I hate realism in fucking anime or anything.
Well, and
because the real world sucks it.
It's not an and, but a but. It could be redeemed with a very good second season.
Well, the thing is, they set up that kid. It's been a while.
I can't remember his name, but yeah,
as like a terrorist or a freedom fighter or whatever.
One man's terrorist, another man's freedom fighter.
Because all those people that got what they wanted need to get their throats slit, I'm just not happy.
A Zeta IBO
would be dope.
Could work, and they could really like round out that story and make it work. And
they could make what the fuck was that kid's name? Mika, the psychopath.
Yep.
Everybody's favorite psychopath. Like, he had a kid, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could be even more, like, awesome psychopath. With a Gundam with even longer monkey arms.
It would get a little ridiculous. Tiny little legs, giant arms. But yeah, I would love to see it. So, Witch from Mercury, I'm excited for.
I'm excited for anything Gundam related until it proves me wrong.
God, basically. IBO was 2015, 2016. Jesus.
I know. Fucking forever.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it's that old, but I guess it is.
The last, like,
I would have said AG was like 2017.
Like, 2015 through now is just a vortex of doom. Like, time stopped. We're all stuck in, like, some weird whirlwind of shit.
We're in Hell World. Clown World is long gone.
Oh, I miss Clown World.
Anyway, continuing on with Gundam news, they are going to keep the life-size moving RX-78 up till at least March 31st of 23.
Why the fuck would they ever take it down?
I don't know, man. Maybe they'll just move it around. I mean, I think one of the other ones they just moved somewhere else.
I got a big front yard. They could put it up.
Right? It's pretty damn cool. So I doubt I'll get to Japan by then, but if I happen to, hey, great.
I wish I was a trust fund baby because that's what I waste my time on. I just build a giant Gundam in my front yard.
You build a big O in your front yard and you fucking know it.
I start with a scope dog because they're smaller and more realistic.
Fair. And then maybe a labor.
Remember way back in the day, this is probably 10, 15 years ago, there was some dude in Japan that built like a life-size scope dog that you could actually
I remember that.
Get in and everything. I don't know if it moved. I think it like skated around. But
I don't remember if it had the wheels, but I think it went up and down because you know how the scope dog does that like
and it was metal,
up
like
and down thing.
I mean, like actual made of metal. Well, it was metal too, but
yeah,
you know, what I mean? It was like it looked super fucking legit.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, back in the good old days when people had time to waste.
Thankfully, it didn't use polymer ringer fluid, so it didn't just explode when you looked at it funny.
Polymer ringer fluid. Basically, like I fill my fucking mech with liquid TNT.
Pretty much. Shit was ridiculous. Anyway, more news. There's now a trailer out for the Odd Taxi movie.
Oh, I'm stoked.
I'm excited.
The more I think about it, the more stoked I am. Because it ended very well, and it's like a good encapsulated story, but I don't know. If it's all the same people doing it, man.
Eiga Odd Taxi in the Woods. So it's got they got some images here, and they got a, oh man, why can I cannot remember the main character's name. That's terrible of me.
I can't remember.
But they got some pictures of the walrus creeping.
Here's Walrus Guy.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm into it.
Oh, fuck.
Otakawa. That's his name.
Otakawa, yeah. Otakawa. Off topic, before I forget. They're legit doing more Justified.
Really?
Yeah. And everybody's coming back.
Okay. If y'all don't know about Justified, go watch Justified. It was on Amazon Prime. I don't know. It might be on Hulu now. Who knows what it is in your country anyway if you're not in the US, because shit's all over the place. But watch Justified. Highly recommended. Live action show. First season's a little procedural. Get through the second season, and then you're golden.
Yeah, it's like 6 seasons.
Phenomenal.
Too, so, or 5 or something.
My man, Raylan Givens. I wonder if he'll be back with the cowboy hat, or if he'll be wearing that ridiculous hat that he.
The pictures I saw were cowboy hat, so we'll see.
I figured they would do that because they only did the other hat as kind of an Easter egg at the end.
Well, that was like a nod to because
that was in the book,
in the original
or
story,
short story or whatever. Yeah.
He had that like fucking fedora thing or whatever.
Man.
Anyway, not to get too off topic, but before my shitty rotten brain forgot about it, I wanted to mention.
No, that's some good news. Let's get that news out there. I don't know if I could be more excited. FX again, I assume.
Yeah, it's the entire original cast from what I saw.
Nice.
So.
I need more art. I love that guy. He's a cool dude too. I've seen some interviews with him.
Oh yeah, I remember. He was like he did all the podcasts for a while.
Yeah, he's a funny dude. All right. Well, I'm plus getting, anything with Walton Goggins. Thank God he's not doing Unicorn and all this other garbage. Like, stop wasting Walton Goggins' talent.
All that shit was always.
I hope he made a ton of money, so that's all I care
about.
Yeah,
I'm sure he did.
I hope the man made a ton of money because he's such a good actor. All right. Anyway, kind of interesting news. In the US Billboard charts for hard rock, the theme song for the new season of Attack on Titan reached number 1.
Didn't I just say how metal that was yesterday?
It reached number 1.
It's fucking metal.
So, that's pretty freaking good.
It's also pretty fucking sad, but we won't get into that.
Well, but it's pretty interesting that, anime's gotten popular enough.
Something's got to bring metal back.
Something like that can, reach number 1, which, I don't know. Japanese metal is another one of those things where I think it's well appreciated in metal circles.
That
but
song
not in normie circles.
Sounds more like a real song than it does. It sounds like they took a real song and just used it as the opening, as opposed to they wrote a song for the opening.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And you also have, these are redone, but you also had that whole EP that freaking Epica did. That's all like the
the original theme song,
3 or 4 of the themes on it.
Yeah, that just worked because it was like very.
Well, it's because the guy who did the theme songs was an Epica fan and did it in that style to begin with.
What's up, Asians? Why do you love Epica so much?
I don't know. I love Epica. So
we
I
went
can't
to an
complain,
Epica show in Boston like a million years ago.
Yeah, 4
I don't
or 5
even remember.
years ago.
But we were the only white guys there practically. It was like, it was right.
It was like the entire Asian population of Boston.
It was,
which is substantial.
The place we saw him was in Chinatown, but
That's true.
Heavy Asians.
Yeah, very, very much love for Epica. Yeah.
It was a good show. We had fun.
Yeah, Epica is very popular over in Japan, so that makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Maybe they have a true appreciation for
symphonic metal.
And good on them because symphonic metal is awesome. So you should appreciate it.
A lot of shit too. Like a lot of theme songs were symphonic metal back in the day. You know what I mean? It was kind of a big thing before it was even like a real thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Yeah. All right. Moving on to the beer bug of unknown origin portion of this podcast. So. John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health released a video which went viral on Twitter not for good reasons, mainly because it's cringy, using freaking Mario Kart to push boosters.
You know what's interesting? John Hopkins just came out with a study saying that lockdowns did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we're not going to get into politics, all that shit.
Well, I'm just saying it's weird
here,
for the same institution to not be in lockstep.
Yeah, it's it's chaos out there, people. But anyway, I bring it up because of the Mario Kart thing. Go check it out if you want to cringe a bit. It's just not. It's not good.
If you want to get boosted.
It's not good. Anyway, as my boy Colt over here said earlier, freaking I'm not going to name them. This is Jam Project.
There's too many.
Every voice actor, producer, music, I'm pretty sure at this point every single entertainer in Japan has COVID. So all of them have it. It is what it is. There's like 52 news articles, one for each person, either getting it or recovering from it. So hey, maybe all those numbers will go down soon. And Japan's already dropping a lot of their restrictions. So let's hope yet more drop away and we can, live life like normal again. It'd be nice.
A lot of countries are starting to just be like, fuck it. You can only drag it out so long.
Yeah, we shall see. Anyway, my last bit of news, also on the beer bug, which I already named, so I guess it doesn't matter. But Otakon and
I was going to mention Otakon.
Otakon and Comiket are both good, and one's in Japan and one's here, so equal opportunity. Are both looking to virtue signal themselves to death, unfortunately. Already announcing that they're going to require, proof of the vax or tests or whatever, and they're going to require masks and all this stuff. And it's like, guys, your shit isn't till the end of July. How about you wait and see? You could warn people, hey, these might be required, because it's fair if someone's going to buy tickets, but you probably should wait until then to see what's going on in the world, because you might be the only damn people around doing any of this, and you may look very silly and just have no attendees. Especially when, I'm sorry, if I had to choose between Otakon and Anime Matsuri, and they're both about the same time of year, I'm going to Anime Matsuri. And judging by the numbers last year, so were a lot of other people.
The problem with Otakon,
it's in DC.
It's in fucking DC.
That is one of the worst problems.
The absolute belly of the beast.
That's why you have to, like I said, give warnings, but I don't think I would have firm announcements on it this early. That's kind of crazy.
I can't have fun at one of those things wearing a mask all day. I'm just sorry. I just can't. Maybe I'm a sad old man,
I would be.
But it's just no fun.
I would have to find a cosplay that mainly involves a
giant mask.
Yeah. That mainly involves being a plague doctor. Which, appropriately. So the other one, Comiket, talked about that. Comic Market, Comiket, whatever you want to call it. That's not till August, and that's in Japan. And they say they're going to do the same thing, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
I bet they reverse. I mean,
they might.
Comiket probably will before. Like I said, Otakon's in DC, and DC is a raging shithole.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had 55,000 people
DC
attend.
will have a mask mandate in like 2037.
So Comic-Con had 55,000 people per day in December, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was like 6 people with the beer bug linked to it. Like,
who cares?
Yeah, I don't think that's enough to freak out, but whatever. Who knows? You're going to have, there's lawyers for these companies, and a lot of them are nervous in the service, which...
It's all insurance.
Yeah. So you got to watch out. So who knows? The whole thing could change between now and then, but it looks like the purity spiral is continuing to circle the drain.
Not the toilet.
It was unfortunate, but hey, maybe newer, better conventions will spring up in their place.
We just have to wait a few years. Like, there'll be new ones.
Yep.
I know people way dumber than me that have organized conventions successfully. Yeah. So, I mean,
I've met people that organize conventions, and some of them are brilliant. And by some of them, I mean, I'm imagining some of them are, because all the ones I've met are not.
You know who's a genius? You can shit on all you want and feel free, because there's a lot of stuff to shit on there. But, like, whoever ran BronyCon.
Oh, yeah. Those people were smart.
They were just they were there to make money. They, like, got out the perfect time. I think 2019 was the last one.
Before it all got very problematic.
Yes. So, I mean, whoever, like, you guys are, fucking... I actually think I met one of them one time. But geniuses. Like, they just made all the money on, like, a weird thing, and they got the fuck out.
You did make a lot of filthy brony money, so...
Yeah, I did. I don't care.
I don't know. I got to buy some cheap comics. That's about all I care about.
Listen, I got to run around with $11,000 in cash.
Hey, it's not bad for one weekend's worth of work, right?
Yep. If you could even call it work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unfolding sweaty dollar bills all day. Yeah. And dealing with, like, the most legendary autists ever. It is.
Anyway, that's all the news I got. Let's talk about the current season and what's going on.
Sabakui Bisco is awesome.
Sabakui Bisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
Super weird. It's got all... If you want to talk about fucking shonen tropes, it's got everything.
Yep.
It's basically they don't give you a lot of information, which is kind of interesting.
I always like a little mystery.
It's like post-apocalyptic. Apparently, a
meteor.
God, my brain is fucking shit this week.
Asteroid.
A meteor hit
comet.
like Japan, and there's like basically cities with nothing in the middle, and like there's this shit.
That's a trope.
Yeah, standard trope, right? And there's this shit called rust. That, like, if you breathe it in, we'll get to. It's like spores, kind of.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah, like I talked about it. Probably last week.
Okay, yeah.
Or not last week, but 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, whatever. I have heard of this, yes.
But anyway, and like you get infected with this rust, and there's no way they can get rid of it. And there's these crazy people that they grow mushrooms, and everybody thinks because you'll see a patch of rust, you'll see mushrooms growing in it, and they think that the mushrooms are causing the rust, so mushrooms are like hyper illegal. I feel like it's an allegory for magic mushrooms.
But it's more like...
But the mushroom guys are actually... Like, the mushrooms actually get rid of the rust. They eat it.
Yeah.
But everybody's stupid, and no matter how many times they tell them, they just don't get it because they're dumb.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yes, Brondo has.
Oh, you want water? Crave. Like from the toilet?
You get those electrolytes, son.
Yeah. And then?
Anyway. So,
watch Idiocracy
and there's
if you haven't.
Like, apparently there's some, like, super rare mushroom somewhere that will actually, you can synthesize a drug out of it that gets rid of the rust in people because it kills you like pretty fast.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, there's this doctor. There's this doctor in the city, and he's trying to synthesize. Like he keeps buying all these illegal mushrooms to synthesize because his sister has the rust. And then he meets this they call them like mushroom wranglers or something, and they're like super. They're like super villains basically.
Sure.
I mean, they're actually not evil at all, but according to.
The narrative of that world.
They're like super evil because they make mushrooms grow everywhere. But anyway, he hooks up with this doctor and wackiness ensues, and they end up going to look for the mushroom to save. Like he wants to save his like master, basically, like the mushroom guy that taught him how to do all that shit. And the little kid doctor wants to save his sister, and they ride a giant crab.
Okay.
It gets weird.
I'm in.
Flying whales, giant crabs. It's like a fucking Gojira album.
I've been watching One Piece, man. Weird is weird. I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting.
Giant elephants with freaking
like whole cities on
furry people that live on whatever. We won't get into that.
Regardless, it's entertaining and I'm enjoying it.
It sounds good.
What else are we watching?
Lupin's still good, obviously.
Lupin is just it keeps getting better.
Yep.
Like these last few seasons, man, I cannot say enough like good stuff about them. They boiled down the essence of Lupin, they modernized it a little bit, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
And you get like wacky episodes that fucking Oshii directed and shit.
That episode was crazy.
It was
wild. Yeah.
It's exactly what you expect out of Oshii, though.
Yep.
Demon Slayer has been... It's like every episode's a fucking movie.
Yeah.
They're spending so much money on it.
The UFO table, they have figured out... They've perfected that mix of CG, and we'll talk about CG later, but that mix of CG and regular animation like no other studio has. And it looks phenomenal. Like you said, it's very movie-like.
And if you want to get into shonen tropes...
Yeah,
Sabakumi Bisco 100% has all the shonen tropes, but Demon Slayer is the shonen trope. It has everything.
Much like Hero Academy or My Hero Academia, whatever, or Black Clover.
Yeah,
but Demon Slayer is a little tighter than either of those.
Yes, it's raw. It is like the raw elements of fucking shonen. It has everything.
Yeah, I would say so. What else?
He has to work so hard.
What else are you watching?
What's am I watching? Oh, fucking Attack on Titan. Jesus Christ.
I haven't started yet.
It's so retarded. It hooked me first because it's just a wild idea, and the designs were crazy. And
early on.
There was a ton of mystery.
Let me be clear. I'm caught up, obviously, just not with the last 3
and then
episodes
you hit that
or whatever.
stupid Princess whatever arc, and you want to blow your brains out.
I heard it was worse in the manga. So.
Yeah, it's all backstory and bullshit. But then you forgive it.
And that weird dude who turns into a Titan and just rubs his face on the ground forever as he's going towards bulldozing his way to that town.
So retarded. And then,
but then it pops off again.
After that, it pops off, and you get a lot of information. But then you hit the time skip. Yeah. You get to the time skip, and everything's fucking weird after that. Is Eren a dick? Are they really into that stupid
genocidal?
We have to get rid of everybody. And I mean spoilers. I can't talk about this without spoilers. But you get to a point where, like, I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but everybody's kind of back on the normal team.
Yeah.
Like, Eren's just like, he wanted to fuck over Zeke the whole time. He's like, ha! But then you can't fuck over Zeke. He's like,
way too much of an asshole.
Way too much of an asshole. Like, the sneaky as fuck. But then the whole crew from, like, when he was on the expedition.
The expeditionary team or whatever.
Yeah. Like, they got released from prison, and now they're like, Eren will never fuck us over, because you know how they are.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of sycophants going on.
Yeah, exactly. So now I think what they're going to do is you're going to get, like, 3 sides. You're going to get shitbags from the island.
Yep.
Stupid. Shitbags from not on the island. Stupid.
Marley. Yep.
It's very Gundam. And then you're going to get the third side of, like, not idiots, which would be Eren and his original crew.
Yeah.
If I was writing it, that's how I do it. That seems how it's going to go down.
I read the manga. I heard a lot of upset over the ending, but I think no matter what that ending is, you were going to get that. So I didn't read anything into that. So we'll see, and we'll see how this ends, because it doesn't necessarily have to end the same way.
Out of all these shows, it's the least shonen.
Yes, it's definitely shonen. Wow, it's more seinen to me than it is shonen. I mean, I guess it's shonen, but it feels more like a little more adult. I hate to say like JoJo's, but a little more adult, or Fist of the North Star.
Yeah,
just a little more adult.
Fist of the North Star has adult themes.
Yeah, mostly exploding everything.
Oh God, I want them to redo that so bad.
Yeah.
Hey, when's the next volume?
Get on that, Studio David. I don't know. It may actually be out now.
I
have to check.
I like it and I want it.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'm watching, I think that isn't old, is it is old. Fucking How a Realist Hero, something the Kingdom.
Oh yeah, it's not old. They're in their second part.
Yeah, it's negotiations.
It's from last season. Yeah.
It's like, if you don't like that kind of stuff, it's boring. I find it interesting.
I really like the concept.
It's funny that they made a ripoff one this season.
Of course.
It's like the exact same thing, except kind of different.
Yeah, you're going to have 100 ripoffs. Like, even if something
like
specific.
that's the weirdest obscure thing. It's like taxes and fucking money
it's
and
papers
shit.
And paychecks.
And they made one almost exactly the same thing this season.
I've played this in D&D before, papers and paychecks.
It's just wild that you would take something that's like, it's good, but it's not phenomenal. And you're going to have somebody make one that's exactly the same thing, like, except stupider. Anyway.
I know.
But anyway.
No one ever accused a lot of anime of being original. Some of it is, but some of it is very
Now
derivative.
that I'm caught up, that's my honk on everything.
All right. Yeah, I got to Attack on Titan. I got to catch up on. I was waiting for a couple episodes to build up.
You have to, because you kind of hate everybody for a while. It's like, I don't like any of these characters anymore. I'm out. But then you like the last episode I watched. It's like, okay,
this is better. Yeah,
this is a little bit better.
Fair enough.
I was hoping it would get there, but
well, especially since you've invested. I mean, it's not one. Listen, it's only on episode 70 something. It ain't One Piece, but
it's
everybody knows if Oda ends One Piece poorly. I think there might be like world revolutions. I think like the freaking governments might get toppled.
Nobody keeps it like real more than Oda, though. Like, he's going to do the most obvious, satisfying thing at the end.
I agree. I don't think he has the ability to screw that ending up, but you never know. You just never know. But after watching, it's going to be 1,000+ episodes by then, because it's already over 1,000 episodes. And I don't even, God knows, I think they're on volume 80 something. It might be on volume 100 at this point.
I just don't feel like he has the ability to fuck it up.
Anyway, we'll stop the existential dread over One Piece ending poorly, and move on to talk about the Shonen Formula a little bit, because a lot of stuff we are watching is Shonen, and like I said earlier,
pretty much everything I love is Shonen, because I'm a sad old man.
Yeah, well, and Shonen is it's that very pure kind of, again, hero with 1,000 faces, hero's journey. Like,
they're all kind of the same, but I love them all.
Yes, well, we've said this before. It doesn't even matter. It's just it's a matter of execution. Good flavor, good characters, good execution,
good window dressing.
Yes, the window dressing is important. Although you can have great window dressing and it be garbage if it's poorly.
Well, yeah, but
it's got to have that backbone of good writing.
You got to have that hook, man.
Good writing and good characters are the best.
Well, it's like, I've said this. I'm sure I brought this up on another show, or 2 or 5. But Jujutsu Kaisen and fucking Black Clover, same exact goddamn show. Except one is like medieval,
different setting, different window dressing,
or fantasy setting, and one is not fantasy setting. But it's exactly.
I mean, characters work kind of similarly.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's almost identical. But when you watch it, you don't think that.
No.
You know what I mean? You're not like, oh, this is just ripping off
It's if you sit down and think about it and like really break it down, you're like, oh yeah, it's very similar.
But they have completely different tones.
I mean, even Mob Psycho is kind of similar in that regard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Although Mob Psycho's kind of a mix between that and One Punch, which One
I
Punch
was just
makes
gonna
sense.
say,
It's the same guy.
But
yeah.
Mob Psycho reminds me more of My Hero Academia, kind of.
It's definitely got that mixed in for sure, and it's probably close power level wise. It's even more than that because Jesus Christ, Mob is like. He's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, when he goes wild.
When he goes insane, forget about it. It's the most ridiculous garbage.
That's same as One Punch.
Great, love it.
You know, they save him up till the end.
And he's trying to keep his wig on for half a season, and then he like destroys the most powerful thing around with One Punch because that's what he does.
That's his game.
Except when he's getting his ass kicked in video games and being very sad about it.
That is one manga I'm really tempted to read, just because like they don't do enough anime. And I know it's like way far ahead now.
Yeah, and I don't even know because I mean it was like it's a web comic, but then I know you can buy printed stuff. I don't know. I'll check it out one of these days.
Yes.
Anyway, Shonen Formula. So the real thing I want to talk about is kind of how how Shonen handles like power levels a bit, but more like how difficult it is for the main character to defeat people and do things and
it's
how
like,
much they beat him down.
Also how you handle the reset. Because there's like this epic build up to like defeat this like ridiculously powerful thing. And then after that, you should be like thrice as powerful, but they have to kind of like, they have to do that thing where you fight a guy and you totally chump him, but then he powers up
you ramp
and
up.
he chumps you.
So this is where I think shows like Demon Slayer and like Hunter x Hunter and like that other one he did, but Yu Yu Hakusho are smarter because it's not just about power. Hunter x Hunter did this probably better. JoJo's does this a bit too, but JoJo's just so silly I can't even get there.
It's hard to even work with it.
It's not necessarily about power in a lot of cases. It's a puzzle, right? Because you have to have power. Don't get me wrong, and you got to get better.
Oh yeah, it's technique.
But it's like
all of Demon Slayer's technique,
and
right?
And it's specific things like figuring out the very specific thing that will let you defeat one enemy. Like, this enemy might be weak to this, or maybe they're, maybe you could figure out some way to adapt your fighting style such that, you can actually defeat an enemy, but not because you're overpowering them, just because you can make it a bad matchup for them, right? Like, it's a puzzle. It's more puzzle-like, and I think that makes it easier for the reset. So I'm glad you brought that up, because something like Dragon Ball Z, and I love Dragon Ball Z, don't get me wrong, it just has to keep ramping, and it just ramps forever.
Yeah, there's no knockdown, just ramps up till you're blown up.
And there's a little bit of puzzle and problem solving. There always is going to be, but it's way more about just being more powerful. It just is
forever,
and it's ridiculous. Like, I'm Super Saiyan now. I'm Super Saiyan 2, 3,
fucking
6,
double,
Super
triple
Gods. I don't even know what the new ones are because I haven't watched freaking Super. But it's a lot harder there because you have to just keep ramping and ramping and ramping, right? And it works there because that's its style.
Planets at each other.
Yeah, you just can't. Like when in original Dragon Ball, not even Dragon Ball Z, freaking Roshi's blowing up the moon, like, that there's a problem.
The problem with Dragon Ball Z is he never wanted to do more.
He kind of had to.
They basically just like, this is really popular. Like, you want more money?
It seemed like he was really done after the Cell Saga, but
yeah.
Anyway, the more puzzle solving ones, which I think Hero Academy falls there too. Again, you can overpower too, but it's more puzzle, right? And it's a little easier to reset from that because you don't have to just be that much more powerful. You become a little bit smarter, but your next enemy could just be a bad matchup again.
Yeah. Well,
One Piece does that.
That whole fucking last episode of Demon Slayer, it's like, hey, guess what, kids? Breathing fire burns my mouth, but I can also do water breathing at the same time.
Exactly.
I should have figured that out 3 episodes ago.
Of course. Listen, Tanjiro is... I love Tanjiro, but he's
not
the brightest bulb.
Well, I mean, he's figuring this out while he's getting his ass beat. So.
Very true. Well, he did a lot of training before you would have figured it out during training.
Trying to choke out his sister before she goes like wild.
But anyway, that puzzle stuff lets you reset. It lets you control the power creep a lot better.
It's a way better writing style.
Yeah, and because
you can keep it going for way longer.
And you still need to have power creep in it, but you can kind of keep it under wraps a bit so it doesn't have to get too stupid.
Yup.
Like, Demon Slayer, they're not getting too out of control with power. Hero Academy, they're not still too out of control with power.
Well, even old shit like Fist of the North Star.
Yep.
It wasn't just Hokuto Shinken is invincible. It was like, oh crap, this guy's got, Nanto Seiken. And
some subset.
Yeah, and I got to do this to, because it'll just cut my fingers
Kenshiro
off.
doesn't ever, apart from Muso Tensei, I'm firmly convinced Kenshiro never actually gets more powerful. He's just so fucking overpowered from the beginning. He just plows through damn near everybody. Because everybody does stuff to him. He's like, Hokuto Shinken's invincible. No one believes him. Like,
yeah, it's like, hey.
Believe the man.
I said it and I meant it.
Believe the man.
Now you're going to make me show you.
So the other thing I think is good about Shonen, the way they handle power levels and those fights is, how far do you go? How much do you beat down the hero? Because it's all about that, the zone of proximal development or whatever, where, if something's too easy, you don't really learn much. And if something is too hard, you just give up and you don't learn anything either. You want to be in that middle where you're optimally challenged so you get better, right?
Well, plus there's got to be bait too. Like that whole last few minutes where Uzui, is that the Hashira's name?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway, that whole last 10 minutes of that Demon Slayer episode where his wife, the weird
one of his 3 wives.
Yeah,
yes.
the weird skeleton guy has one of his wives, and Tanjiro's like, fuck. She's going to fucking die if I don't get up there and do something. I got to figure it out. And he figures it out because, stakes. The stakes are fucking high.
Well, that's the Yami thing from Black Clover, right? Overcome your limits. Otherwise, we're all going to die. Just overcome your limits.
I'm busy being constipated.
Yeah.
You need to overcome your limits because I'm taking a shit.
But, I mean, that's important, right? The challenge is there, and they make it difficult enough and the stakes high enough that it forces you to get better. And it actually is a good teaching mechanism for kids or for anybody, really. It reminds you that, yes, shit's hard, and anything, worth doing is going to be a little hard.
Oh, you mean it's like the 80s when every cartoon had a good fucking message?
Well, yeah, plus buy our toys. Which don't get me wrong, no one chills harder for buying all sorts of random bullshit.
Yeah, but I don't mind that. You're allowed to sell your toys.
They had to.
You're teaching.
They actually, by law, had to put in all that other stuff so they could have a show that was basically just buy our toys.
Wow,
that was the reason they had all the other stuff.
That's
anyway,
a pretty good law.
So, how far do you go? This is the last thing I want to talk about here. Is how far do you go beating the character down? A show like One Piece and a show like Demon Slayer. They kick the shit out of the main character.
Oh, Asta almost dies.
Black Clover too, right? Before they can win. Shows like Hunter x Hunter, early on, they're not. I didn't feel it was quite that bad that way.
Yeah.
But then once you got to the Ant arc, it was that bad.
The Ant arc was just savage.
Just savage. I agree.
Well, I mean, when fucking that was his name, Gon. When Gon basically sells his life force to beat Pito. Yeah, I mean, you can't get any higher stakes than that. It's just I don't even care. I'm going to kill this bitch.
Well, and he couldn't have otherwise, right? He had to go ridiculously off the chains, and, they couldn't even deal with the actual main villain because what's-his-face had to, the Buddha guy who freaking, had a nuke inside of him.
Yep.
So that's, how far do you go, right? Because it can get frustrating watching sometimes when it's just episode after episode after episode of the main character getting their ass beat, and they just can't get anywhere. Demon Slayer does a good job of stringing it along well, where there's ups and downs and success,
you gotta have
failure.
waves, because you can't just have I'm trying to think of it. There was one show I was watching where it was just the main character got their ass kicked for 30 episodes or something, and then you get a win. It's I can't. It's not going to hold my interest for that.
It's too much. And One Piece is similar in that way. It's stretched out more, although it's hard to judge One Piece episodes because a lot of them are really 12 to 13 minutes of actual episode.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Because they, that's just the way they do it.
Oh,
so,
man, I like Black Clover. Those are 16-minute episodes.
Yeah, it's even worse than Black Clover, but it's in the same vein for sure. But okay, Luffy gets his ass kicked. He gets his ass kicked for 3, 4, 5 episodes in a row, but then you'll get a little bit in and then something will change. And they do a good job of having multiple fights going on at once because you got a crew, right? So you can have different fights at different stages. So, okay, if one character's getting their ass beat and it's kind of depressing to watch because you like the character, and it's going to be all right, but you still don't necessarily want to see it.
Demon Slayer thing. You got
more things going on.
The two demons, and then four people fighting, plus his wives are kicking around, plus Nezuko's still kicking around. So I mean, it's still a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, but One Piece has to finish the One Piece thought, if Luffy's getting his ass kicked, Zoro may be over here actually winning at this point, right? And maybe Frankie's over here he just won, and maybe over here freaking Usopp or somebody's getting their ass kicked, and it's just they do a good job of being able to trade off like that and have a lot of things going on at once.
Yeah,
I think that's smart. And Demon Slayer, like you said, does it too, and Hunter x Hunter was doing that as well, right? Because you had they'd have Hisoka doing stuff sometimes. Not that he was really a hero, but he kind of was.
I like Hisoka. He was kind of a weirdo.
And then you had Gon would be over here, and Killua would be over here.
That's one.
And they'd be doing different stuff. Yeah, it took me a minute to remember his name. I was most interested to see where his powers were going because those lightning powers are pretty damn cool.
Apparently, there's a whole arc of kind of boring ant shit after that.
There's an election arc.
Yeah, it's it didn't seem.
And then I don't know. That guy hasn't really done much, which is a shame. Anyway,
so lazy.
That's all I wanted to say. It's just something to watch for. If you like Shonen and you're watching Shonen, kind of get a feeling for that and what you like and what you don't like, and you can kind of figure out sometimes which shows are worth your time or not by how do they treat the characters with power levels, how do they reset. How do they deal with beating the crap out of them so that they have the ability to develop? It shows good writing.
Once you notice it, you'll be able to see the difference between a really good show and a kind of mediocre show.
And you could probably figure it out kind of quickly in a lot of shows because you'll get a little bit of it, a little taste of that in the first 10, 15 episodes. I know it feels like a lot, but not really. And then you can get an idea for whether should I still watch this? Bleach never did it for me, right? For some reason,
just never get into it.
That cadence there just didn't work for me, and I'd have to go back and rewatch it to really analyze why.
Bleach was not very well written. I don't know if the manga was better.
Yeah, and that's personal.
But it was
opinion.
just that one chick was just a plot device to She was just remember Moe was the thing?
Yeah,
she was this shitty Moe character that got kidnapped every 5 minutes, and that was the whole arc is trying to get her stupid ass back. Orihime, that was her name.
Orihime, yep. The redhead. So yeah, it's just something to watch out for
but there was a lot of those traps in that show where it's just this is not very
because
good.
It just might not. But I think my point is people you're not fans of every kind of shonen, and they're going to tell you it's the greatest thing ever. But not every type of shonen is obviously going to be your jam, and it's not like you can just watch it all and find out okay, I'm gonna go watch 900 plus episodes of One Piece and just figure out whether I like it or not, right? Don't worry, it gets there. No, just.
Well, I mean, even
watch for that kind
Black
of stuff.
Black Clover is not even long yet, and it's over 100 episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's watch for that kind of stuff and kind of analyze yourself what you like and don't like, and which style of that you like.
It's hard
and
to
don't
just dip your toe.
I think you'll get there. I think it'll help you.
But there's a lot of stuff like that.
Anyway, let's move on and talk about CG.
Computer generated animation,
which is really big in the West. It's hard to find a freaking show that isn't CG. It's coming back a little bit, but even the ones that aren't fully CG, like Castlevania, let's say, have plenty of elements of CG in them.
Oh yeah.
Versus Japan, where Japan's starting to really break into it, but oh man,
that's cancer. The West, I've very rarely seen bad stuff.
Not in a long time. I mean, granted, we started a long time ago. You think about
20 years.
Beast Wars.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Beast Wars in the 90s was where a lot of Japan is now. And I know.
Well, I think they're ahead of that, but I know some of it's pretty bad, but they're ahead of that. Yeah, it's
anyway.
They seem to be far behind.
My whole point is they're not far behind. They can do it.
UFO Table. We already talked about UFO Table. They're on it. They got that shit on lock because Demon Slayer looks amazing.
Yes. But you got a lot of stuff that's
all those Nighthead last season.
Yeah, it's just so bad.
It looks so janky and so bad.
And
it looks jankier than the 2007 movie we're going to talk about after, Appleseed.
Well, that's what made me think about this topic. The review we're doing today, Appleseed Ex Machina, is done in 2007. And it looks better than 90% of the stuff Japan is cranking out right now.
And of course, at the time, it was something they spent a lot of money
on.
on.
It was in theaters. It was like a big deal movie.
Yeah, they spent money on it.
Fucking John Woo executive produced it.
We'll get into that. But they, you would think by now, 15 years later,
that level of CG would be cheap enough.
Should be making its way into shows. And some shows it does. Right? Like I said, Demon Slayer, they have it, but then other stuff, it just looks like cancer.
Demon Slayer's a blend.
Well, that's why they're smart, because they do things where it makes sense. And I'm sure Demon Slayer costs more than Nighthead costs, but for the love of God, why does Nighthead look so terrible? I mean, the first instance of that was freaking Fist of the Blue Sky.
Oh, that was the first one, but
the second one.
One of the most egregious.
Well, because the first one was regular animation.
The first one was really bad regular animation.
It was.
I don't know how a Fist of the North Star property could get so little money.
And the one that was the most galling was Berserk. Like, because the Golden Age movies looked decent.
Amazing, yeah.
They looked decent. Like,
not amazing,
I was good.
But they were pretty damn good.
And then the series was garbage, and it's like, this is fucking Berserk. I know Berserk makes a ton of money.
If you're not going to throw money at Berserk, what the fuck are you saving
what is
it for?
going on?
Like, I don't know if there was like some kind of money crunch or whatever, but it's fucking properties that big that aren't getting like real money.
So, and then here, the other day I watched that Lupin movie, which we should both watch some point, but Lupin the First, Lupin the Third, the First, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And that came out like 2019, I think. And granted, they spent a ton of money on that because it's freaking Lupin.
Yeah.
And it was a movie, like a movie. The animation's phenomenal. Like, it's phenomenal. It's they kept the style, but like, it looks like it could have been done by, Disney.
Man, I want to check it out now.
Like, the animation is really goddamn good. I was surprised at how good it was. So they're capable of it. And, they just don't seem to want to do it or spend any of the money on some of these shows. And at that point, it's like, I'd rather see shitty regular animation than whatever this garbage is you're doing.
Well, I mean, there's shows that have come out that have looked interesting, and then I watch one episode and I'm like, this CG is just like, this animation is just so shitty it ruins the experience.
Yeah.
So I'm just no, I can't watch it.
And I don't mind as much as when it's, a lot of times they'll save it for vehicles and they won't look great, but you can kind of get past that as long as the character animation looks good.
It's better in mecha series because like robots don't look bad. It's always people.
Well, it depends. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't.
It's generally people that are a mess. But.
Something now like where they spend money like Hathaway looks fucking awesome. Like, looks good. But they spent a ton of money on that, so that's, you can't really compare that.
That's not really 3D digital either.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of more like
it's meant to more emulate, but I think it's all ties together. It's all interwoven.
I'm thinking of more the 3D digital stuff.
Yeah,
because it always looks better for some reason. And it shouldn't, because it probably costs more money than doing 2D stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think that may be because your brain for the 2D stuff is expecting actual animation.
Probably, yeah.
And it doesn't like that it doesn't look quite right. It's almost like the Uncanny Valley for animation.
Yes.
I suspect that that's part of the problem.
The Uncanny Valley for animation for me is always faces. Well, it's like, what was that? Igloo.
Yes, MS Igloo. Yeah.
Yes, I like
the mecha scenes look good. Well,
the mecha scenes look good,
except for like every ship in space tearing ass all over the freaking solar system.
Yeah, it was retarded
at hyperspeeds. That was weird.
But that was for me. That was the faces. They just always looked off and weird.
Yeah, and it was interesting because that was easily the weakest part of Appleseed, which we'll get into here in a minute. But that was easily the weakest part there too.
It wasn't distracting.
It wasn't. No, I'm not saying it was bad, but it was easily the worst part of the animation style. Was the way they did the faces and the facial animations. Everything else looked great, but that was the one part where I went. That was the one thing that really told me that it wasn't new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could tell.
Anyway, we might as well get into it.
Whereas something like that Lupin movie is like, they did an amazingly good job of that. So, anyway, let's get into it. Why not? So. You already said John Woo. John Woo was involved, which is freaking crazy.
He was the executive producer, which means he just like basically he signed his name on something, got paid,
and made sure doves were in it. Lots of doves.
There's so many scenes of white doves.
So many white doves.
There's like robotic white doves that like are part of the plot. It's ridiculous. It's like he's such a dove meme.
So Ex Machina. This is not the original. They did a Appleseed movie, CG movie before this in 2004.
Yep.
Was the first one. So this is the second one. You don't need to have seen the first one to watch this. I would say watch all the Appleseed because Appleseed is just a cool thing.
If you don't know anything about Appleseed, for the love of God, at least watch the original OVA.
Yeah, at least watch the original 88, I believe, OVA.
I mean, Shiro Masamune, like, classic.
Yeah, or if you're not into that and you want to watch the CG stuff, you could just watch the first movie, just regular Appleseed. The first CG one from 2004. It's also good. Like, they're both good. I like the original, but yeah, they're both good. So this came out 2007. It's got a lot of interesting plot threads going on. So we already talked about the animation style. The animation style is good. Like, it's 3D animation. I just said
for 2007, great, it looks fucking amazing.
I think it looks very good. Yeah, I'm with you.
Like, the human characters, like, face-wise, it doesn't really bother me.
No.
It's infinitely better than new stuff that they've been putting out.
It bothers me as much as, like, Arcane bothered me when I first started watching it. And then, like, after half an episode, nothing bothered me anymore.
Luckily, there aren't that many human characters because it's all, like, bioroids and landmates and all the shit you want.
Cyborgs.
All of the shit you want out of, like, Shiro Masamune.
Yeah, so Appleseed is this interesting property where, you know, it's the post-apocalypse-ish. Like, the city doesn't seem like that, but, again, it's cities, islands of cities, right?
It's the classic, like mega cities.
Almost like city-states.
Yeah.
Where they're each their own country, really. And they're in Olympus, which is, you know, very Greek themed, not a little bit in looks, a little bit, but a lot of the names are, you know, there's like I think the
Prime Minister is Athena, yeah.
Yeah, she looks more like Camilla. She looks like a goddamn vampire, but we don't get into that.
Whatever.
Don't wear like white with blood red. That really just kind of makes it happen.
Pops it off.
But yeah, it's this futuristic setting where, you know, there was a big war that happened, and, you know, there's a lot of like cyborgs still around mostly because of the war, people that got injured during the war. And one of the main characters is Briarios, who's got pretty much a full cyborg body, very Ghost in the Shell in that regard, except he looks more monstrous. He looks more like an actual cyborg.
He's basically a dreadnought.
He's like if Bateau, like he's like the size of Bateau from Ghost in the Shell, except he doesn't look human anymore. Like
it's completely like
crazy bunny-eared head with a bunch of eyes and like or lenses, not eyes.
Some of my favorite like cyborg designs ever.
Great designs, great mech designs. They have landmates where like your actual arms kind of stick out the front of the mech, but then you have big mech arms that come out of the shoulders. So you got like 4 arms going on. So you have all the guns.
Yeah, it's like a powered suit where you're kind of hanging out of it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like scope dog size. They're maybe like 3-4 meters tall. They're not huge.
The designs are so fucking cool, though.
They're very cool. Like, Masamune's got great designs. So, Shiro Masamune, the guy who did Ghost in the Shell, obviously. And we've talked about Appleseed before. Go back and check out the review we did of that. You know, so you got this near future setting where, like, humans, and there's also bioroids. So, bioroids are basically artificial humans. They're mostly organic, but
they look like humans.
They're lab grown, and they may be more, you know, better than humans, but they're not like a full cyborg that's really a tank.
Yeah.
You know, not quite that good.
Briarios is the only, like, they're called Hecaton chairs or whatever.
Whatever,
Hecaton chair. I used to call, like, in the old translation was Hecaton.
Yeah, forget about it. There's a bunch of different
translations. But the new one, like, in this one, it's Hecaton chairs, and he is the only human that, like, ever
could bond with that body.
So he's like the only one.
Who's like a full cyborg.
Yeah, like, he's like full cyborg with
damn
a
near
full
brain. Ghost in the Shell. I think his actual brain's in there. Unlike
I don't think
Ghost
he has any other meat parts. He's just full.
I think he's got meat parts. Well, I don't know about this one, but in the original, he gets shot in the knee, he bleeds. So he's got some meat parts in there.
Maybe I don't know.
But I don't know.
Regardless, mostly a cyborg.
Yes, he is more machine than man at this point, for sure. And that's one of the plot points in this, which is kind of interesting, is they have Terius, which is this bioroid who's meant to be kind of a mass-produced enforcer.
Hecaton chairs like didn't work.
Yeah, he was the only one who could do it. So they're like, okay, well,
we need something easier.
We need something that's, you know, more powerful than a human, but looks human and can do all this stuff. And the problem is they use Briarios as the template, so
they use like 90% of his DNA.
Yeah, and so the guy looks just like Briarios before he got put into the suit, or not suit, but like the cyborg body.
And it freaks poor Dunan out.
Yeah, so Dunan is one of the other main characters. She's his partner. Like they fought in the war together, so you know they go way back.
Yeah, Briarios like saved her life, and she's ride or die forever.
Yeah,
basically.
with Briarios, and so she's a little freaked out by Terius, and it's kind of interesting because when they introduce the bioroids, you think it's like a red herring. You think that's good.
It's a good one too, because you really think
like, oh, that's not going to end well, because they have like these giant stacks of them. Like, oh yeah, you're going to check out Terrius and see if he's any good. But like, if you woke up all those Bioroids and they all turned evil, it would be a problem.
Yes.
And not all the Bioroids are super badass, by the way. Like, there's ones that are just like Hitomi. She's just like a diplomat or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not all necessarily.
Yeah, they make them for like different jobs. They're not all for like, war.
Yeah, they're just because you get the impression that there's not a humanity like got severely reduced. So if you're gonna have a functioning society, they just needed more bodies.
Yeah, bodies.
So they just created humans, artificial humans, but again, they're more like vat-grown humans than they are.
Yeah, they don't
robots.
have like mechanical parts.
They call them Bioroids, but I don't know. And it's hard to tell. Maybe they do have some mechanical parts as well.
They're mostly vat-grown humans,
kind of like Melfina from Outlaw Star. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's immaterial. So the plot has this other element. It's got a lot of things going on because you have that whole thing with like, well, Briarios has this other version of him that's him from the past, and then Dunan's freaked out by it. And one of my complaints is they don't really truly explore that fully. It's kind of a window dressing thing, and they explore it a little bit, but it doesn't. They don't ever really resolve it.
They kind of resolve it, but not in a really satisfying way. They're just like, whatever.
It's one of those things. It seems like it's important enough it should be a main plot point, and it kind of isn't.
Yeah.
So again, not bad, because this thing is good. It's definitely a recommend. But you have that going on. Then you have like this whole subplot thing with like a company, Poseidon, because of course,
Poseidon is like one of the other big cities.
Was it one of the cities?
Yeah.
No, it was a company. Poseidon's a company.
Oh no, Poseidon is also a city.
Okay, sure. I did not get that impression. So
no,
that's my bad.
I'm 99% sure.
Doesn't
Poseidon
matter.
was one of the other big cities.
It's
because
immaterial.
They were all negotiating with whatever.
It's immaterial.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So there's one plot point going on where all the cities are getting together, and Olympus wants to like kind of take control of all the satellite. I guess they each own like one satellite. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
They have this like network of satellites. So like, if we have all these satellites, we can monitor everything and do good work. It's like, that's gonna go wrong.
That never works.
And that does go wrong. Although it's not because there's anything sinister going on with Olympus, which you think there would be.
Yeah, there's a lot of red herrings.
There's a lot of red herrings going on. And then there's the Poseidon, which is the company where, there's what's happening is cyborgs at first, and then come to find out it's not the cyborgs, are going crazy, and they're like spouting stuff about, we'll all be one. There's this weird religious thing going on.
They get to that
there.
like hive mind bullshit.
Yeah, quasi-religious thing going on, and the Dunan and Briarios are on ESWAT, which is like, the special police for the special police, not in the
they deal with cyborgs
Gestapo kind of way,
shit,
but or the Stasi, right? Like not like that. They're just like the badass SWAT team basically that's called in.
Dunan's like threats. Almost the only full human on the entire thing. It's mostly like
there's a lot of cyborgs and other stuff, Bioroids, whatever else. So and she, Dunan's ridiculous. She does all sorts of stuff that she probably shouldn't be able to do.
She has absurd kung fu.
So there's a mystery going on about, why are these cyborgs going crazy, and then why is everybody going crazy, and what does it have to do with Poseidon, and what's going on with Briarios, because he starts to act a little wonky, and who's behind all this and why, and it all resolves, and they give you good answers, but there's a lot of red herrings, and there's a lot going on.
There is a lot.
It's not hard to follow at all, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else? What else did you like about?
Well, what
Ex
I liked
Machina?
about it was it's basically an 80s movie. Constant action.
Yes.
All the action scenes are animated fucking exquisitely. Like, no beef. All the backgrounds are super cool. Like, all the, Olympus stuff.
Yeah, the designs are. I mean, even though this isn't a story that's from the original Appleseed, the designs are still all very Shiro.
Oh yeah, same exact thing. Everything has ridiculous bunny ears and like.
He loves his.
Anyway,
bunny ears.
Briarios is a gigantic, like cyborg, and they give him a landmate to make him even more giant. But he's so giant that it doesn't have a head. His head just sticks out.
Yeah, he just puts a helmet on,
which is fucking amazing. But like all the action stuff is good. It's mostly action.
Yep.
All the story stuff, there's
a good mystery there.
There's a good mystery. It's enough to be entertaining.
And the characters are interesting enough.
Yeah, like all the characters are likable. Like you get where what's Terror.
What's with
his name?
What's with the goddamn Terrius?
Yeah. Like you get where he's coming from, because he's like, man, I don't want to be mostly Briarios.
What's with the damn lab guy who's like the ultimate pro?
Oh yeah, there's this
that guy is living ex machina.
There's this one lab guy who's basically Q from
Bond.
Yeah. And he just like he is Deus Ex Machina. He like every time they're fucked, he shows up to like give them something they need.
It's
which is
kind of
ridiculous. Writing wise, it's not the most tightly written thing in the world.
No, it's a little loose.
I still enjoyed the living shit out of it, but like there's certain points where you just gotta turn your brain off.
Well, yeah, all the red herrings, like,
and it takes them. I don't know if it's just because it's old, but like now we have technology like that already. It's like, this like
there's shit they should have figured out a lot earlier.
There's shit that like you figure like they make it obvious to the audience super early, but then they take like a half an hour to figure it out. I'm like,
you should have figured.
Aren't you guys cops? Like, come on. Like, Doonan has to do this like third grader amount of like detective work, and then like they figure it out.
It is pretty silly. Like that should have been obvious from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. But other than that, it's like super awesome.
Which makes
watch.
it more like an 80s action movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just don't think too hard. And it's not that bad. I mean, the plot, they tie it all up. It's very satisfying at the end. It's gorgeous to watch. It has all, like, amazing action scenes. And I love Shirow designs. I'm a super sucker.
Great designs and great mech stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, you know, I've already voiced my complaints. They're very minor.
Yeah, it's just minor shit.
Kind of, like, drop plot threads and, you know, not as well-developed subplots as they could be. Although, you know, you wouldn't want it any longer either, so it's more like you maybe just excise the subplot.
Yeah, it's literally only like an hour and what was it like?
Like the whole Terrius thing, he's like a double red herring plot point. It's just
exactly
strange. It was like an hour, a little over an hour and a half.
Yeah, so I mean, you know.
So it's not it's under 2 hours, which is perfect for a movie like this.
Anyway,
but it doesn't ever really slow down. Yeah,
no, it's like it's very well paced. It's a super recommend. We only did it because I wanted to watch it again. So.
Yeah, no, I'd recommend it. And I mean, there's Appleseed, the original OVA. I mean, there's a manga you can read, but then there's the original OVA, which is regular animation. Then for the CG stuff, there's Appleseed from 2004. There's Ex Machina. Then there's a series, which was 13. I haven't watched that.
I have that on a hard drive somewhere. I was just looking at it yesterday and I forget
what it's called. And then there was
called.
Alpha or whatever. That's actually a movie that's after, and I don't think I've even seen that. So
I have Alpha too. Yeah,
so that's... You know, maybe we will definitely be revisiting this universe at some point and checking out some of the other stuff.
It's one of my faves. So
and there's the point of saying that too is there's a bunch out there. So you know, if you like this, there's a lot more you can check out too. So
and I can't imagine why you wouldn't like it. You'd have to like work to.
Well, if you know, unless it's just not unless action stuff like this isn't your style, then you wouldn't like it. If it is, yeah, I'm with you. I couldn't imagine not liking it if you like.
And if that's the case,
movies.
You probably shouldn't be listening to this because we don't really.
Yeah, we're not talking slice of life most of the time, but you know, so I get it.
But anyway, that's that.
That's all I got.
I roll out and watch it, and hopefully we're back permanently now.
Yeah.
I still got a little bit of a cough, but it's not too bad.
A lot of diseases out there. We shall see.
Anyway, catch you next week.
Peace.
Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe. And may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.